city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
From Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA, this is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am here today with Ezra Parter, Brennan Vogt, and Jackie K. We are from Mile High Hockey as well as Hockey Mountain High. Please head on over to each website. Be sure to give these fine people a follow today. And thank you for tuning into this 139th edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab, where we have plenty to cover, including a matinee contest tomorrow against the Dallas Stars, the Central Division rival of the Avalanche, also the team sort of chasing them for Central Division title, as well as the President's Trophy. As the days go by, it looks like the Avalanche are more and more likely to secure that. However, there's still some work to be done. Thank you to the three of you for joining me today. I think we'll talk about that, maybe get a little reaction to what we saw against Vancouver, which I'm sure we have lots to say in terms of that game. Talk a little bit about goalies as a result of that game, and look ahead maybe at some of the games beyond Dallas as well. So that's kind of what's on the docket. I will ask you, Ezra, what do you want to start with?
Oh, I mean, I think we should probably start with Vancouver, get that out of the way. That game was horrible. I mean, from the first goal, I was like, ooh, this is one of those bad Blackwood games. And then the guys in front of him it seemed like rather than being like, oh, this is one of those bad Blackwood games, we have to really buckle down. They were like, oh, no, it's one of those bad Blackwood games, and kind of lost the fire a little bit, which, you don't want to see. But at the same time, it is just a game against Vancouver at this point in the season when nothing really matters. So I'm not going to read too much into it, but it was disappointing.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to assess it. That first goal, 5-hole in the first 30 seconds of the game, not ideal. Enough to rattle any goalie, much less one who's, not had a lot of track this season. But Brendan, I'm curious how you saw it. Obviously, Avs lose 8-6. I was busy waiting to get into the room, so I missed the empty netter. So I actually accidentally posted our recap 7-6. So that's my bad. But I missed the empty netter, but that did happen. Although
that's why you need to check the website before you do it, dude.
I checked, but when you're there, brother, the wheels are just turning and burning.
I know. I know.
No. Luckily, the Mile High Hockey community, of course, was Johnny on the spot to say, hey, brother, it was 8-6, not 7-6. But nonetheless, the Avs had a comeback. It was okay to see that, but in the end, they give up a goal to a guy who had only one other goal heading in that goes off of Jack Drury's heel and past Scott Wedgwood to blow that comeback. Did you like that fight, or was it just like whatever?
Well, I've been a Wedgwood. I've loved Wedgwood the whole way along, and I'm for, if you have a hot goalie, go with a hot goalie. And it was Wedgwood's net to lose at the beginning of the year, and they should have been staying with Wedgwood, in my opinion. So the fact that this whole narrative that they're trying to push Blackwood as the starter this year. Honestly, I mean, I get it as in terms of salary. I know why they're trying to do it, but the fact that they're trying to keep pushing it and push it and push it and push it doesn't make sense to me when we've seen what Wedgwood can handle and what he can do. He's leading the league was at least last I checked yesterday in GAA. That should say enough. So I don't know why they're not going with him.
Are they not going with him? Though?
I think
because, they started Blackwood against Vancouver so they could start Wedgwood against Dallas, right? So it seems like they already are going with Wedgwood.
But it seems like they're starting to go with Blackwood more, is my point.
I don't know.
But to Ezra's point, it felt like the reason they didn't pull Blackwood until goal number 6 against Vancouver was it was kind of like, you can get through this. It's Vancouver. Let's save Scott for Saturday. And I think that I didn't get to ask. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask Bednar was like why he waited so long. I think that's the explanation, but I can't speak for him. That's pure speculation.
Waited till 9.
But I agree with Ezra, and Jackie's mentioned it before. Like we saw in the Dallas matchup a couple weeks ago, we said whoever they start there is who they see as kind of the number one, and it was indeed Scott Wedgwood. But I would argue against what you said and I'm sure Jackie will help your side of this argument, but I would argue that they haven't ever said they're trying to make Blackwood the starter again. They've always said
it's just the way they're handling it.
Correct, but I don't think the way they're handling it is entirely indicative of them trying to get him back to the number 1 spot, as much as giving him the track to do that at a pace that's comfortable. And you're afforded that opportunity when you have another guy like Scott Wedgwood in the lineup. Now, Jackie, tell me why I just am annoying to you.
I'm honestly not sure who's right. I mean, the way I see it is, I mean, yes, the writing's on the wall. I think we're going to see Wedgwood as the game 1 starter, barring any significant change. But they're not going to let this Blackwood thing go. I mean, they're paying him a lot of money for a lot more years. So the whole, like, whoever said that they're trying to get him on track, I mean, that's what they've been saying all years. They're trying to get him on track. And I never believed he was better or more talented or the better goalie. To me, that was the narrative that I think was born in because of what they were paying for him. So, like, to me, I don't.
You said that
it's kind of wasted.
That was one of your bold predictions.
Yeah. It's funny that
I think I understand and agree that they're saying they're trying to work Blackwood back, but I don't think they've said trying to work him back to being the bona fide starter. Because with Scott in the house, I think
in that Dallas game. I think that
now we're back. I think they have reeled it back a little. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that was the plan. Yeah. I mean, you want both playing well. You're going to need both, and I agree with you with your article about you still need to keep the tandem in mind. Like, I agree with that. I agree we don't need to see Wedgwood playing every single game in the playoffs, but I think kind of like what Bednar said the other day was it's also hard to take out a goalie that's just won. You won a playoff game, you're
100%.
He won, you're going to play the same guy again. But this whole, like, making Blackwood happen and the excuses, he was injured and this, that, I never thought he was better. Like, I never thought, if you took the numbers out of it, I never thought he was entitled to anything. And so, to me, at best, they're on equal footing.
For sure.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, they're very different goaltenders.
Good that you have both. It's good that it's a good problem to have when they're both playing well, but I never saw the entitlement. And yeah, I've been asking this question all season, and it was like until the Dallas game, it was like wasn't even a question to the fan base. It was like, yeah, it's Blackwood. Yeah. He's the better goalie. He's the one you want. Yep. And then after that happened, then it was like, okay, well, maybe we're really going to need Wedgwood this year. But even if you ask people, they still think it's about this year. Wedgwood's playing better this year, but if people think that they're going to win multiple cups, they think Blackwood's going to be the guy moving forward.
Well, and I think there's reason to believe in that, right? Like, goaltenders who miss training camp, I've said this on a bunch of episodes recently, but goaltenders who miss training camp, the track record is terrible. Swayman's the most recent example, but he's not the only one. He is the only one that's coming to mind right now, but he's not the only one. But goaltenders that miss training camp have a really rough year almost every single time. So it makes sense that Blackwood is struggling. Now, obviously, you want to say, oh, well, he had the season to get his runway underneath it. He had the season's worth of runway to get his legs underneath him. He should be there. But it just historically isn't the case. So ideally, he's able to play some playoff games, look decent, be good enough to propel the Avs forward when he's called upon. And then get a solid training camp underneath him for the future and be the goaltender that he's being paid to be. But regardless, for this season, the way Wedgwood's played. The other thing I wanted to say about this also, actually, the two goalies play such different styles. Blackwood is very quiet. He doesn't move much. And ideally, he's using his size to take up the net and pucks hit him. And that's a more technically consistent style. Now, right now, it's been consistently shaky, but when it's going well, that's a more consistent style than Wedgwood, who's a little more frenetic. He's chasing pucks through the. He's playing it like high up in the crease. He's playing kind of a style that is. I mean, I'm not trying to compare him to Dominik Hasek, but it's more reminiscent of a Dominik Hasek who's really making athletic saves, really making. He's finding the puck, he's following the puck, and he's throwing whatever he's got in front of it. Whereas Blackwood is tracking the puck and staying in front of it. And not making a lot of movement to be in the way. And that style, the Blackwood style, is generally the goaltenders who find more consistent success because it's less based on athleticism. It's less based on reaction in the moment, and it's more based on just being in position. So in an ideal world, long-term, you'd want Blackwood to find his game because that style is more likely to be successful multiple years in a row. There's a reason Wedgwood's been a career backup, right? But this year, oh man, started.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to put it because we constantly ask this team to think bigger picture, and that's what I see this as. I don't think I understand it's annoying that in a year where finally a guy like Scott Wedgwood has done enough to really validate himself as a potential starter in the NHL. And you're not right there to reward that. That hurts. I agree. It was something I told my dad days before I wrote the article where I just said it's not time to call Scott Woods the bona fide starter because that does suck. But the context of the situation, I put it in the article, is goalies are creatures of habit on steroids. This isn't like my toddler who is. Or it's a lot like my toddler who's on a very rigid routine.
That's probably the best comparison, dude, is a toddler who
the second you leave
routine.
it, they lose their And my dad used to say, I put this in the article too, that half of what makes a goalie great happens in the 6 inches between their ears. And so I think we've seen in Alexander Georgiev what can happen when that 6 inches is not nurtured and taken care of. And I think they have real intentions of making Blackwood the future of goaltending in Colorado. And they want to nurture that relationship and that mindset. And having a guy like Scott Wedgwood who decides this year to have the best year of his career has just made that even easier for Mackenzie. And that's why I think you see them become so close. And they seem to be completely fine. I've never once heard Scott Wedgwood call into question the kind of tandem that they're going with right now. And the big thing in the article was when we saw the Boston Bruins have their goalie tandem, they immediately went straight to Ullmark for all of the games in round 1 against Florida. They didn't transition to Swayman until game 7, and one would argue it was already too late. So I'm lobbying for is that the Avalanche just stick to the plan and keep doing what they've been doing so that they can continue to safeguard and nurture the between the ears stuff for these two goalies. Jackie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think they're going to need both. I do think it's funny that now there's this uproar about, Wedgwood's not in consideration for the Vezina. Like, your own team refuses to choose you. I know the stats are great, but first of all, he doesn't have enough starts. I think, what was it, Tim Thomas won with 54 starts? He's not going to hit 54 starts. And just the narrative. I mean, exactly this, that no matter what, we want a bridge back to Blackwood. And it's and then at the same time, the fan base is going to start panicking about the Avs were wronged because they refused to put Wedgwood into Vezina considerations. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Well,
You can't die on
Sure.
the hill of Blackwood and then say, oh, but we need to honor Wedgwood. It's like, you never picked him. I've been asking the question all season. He was never getting picked until 2 weeks ago.
It's like Vietnam flashbacks, though. You know, they picked they picked Georgiev, and then look what happened. And
but he was good. That's the other thing.
I know, but so was Blackwood last year. And then we're seeing what happened this year with Blackwood, and it's the Vietnam flashbacks.
Maybe he's just not that good. That's the other thing. I know. We're comparing it to Georgiev.
I mean,
maybe
I was
he's
excited.
not going to be that guy.
I was excited that we got him, but he's not like a A+ tier goalie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean,
he doesn't need to be.
I mean, I think what we saw from him in the 30 games before last season ended is enough for me personally.
I don't think he was great. I never thought he was great.
Well, he had a 912 save percentage, which would be second in the league this year. He had a GAA that was 233, which would also be second in the league this year, ahead of Vasilevsky, just behind Wedgwood. So it's like, I think we've seen that at a very minimum, Mackenzie Blackwood can take his style and approach. Whoa, don't know what happened there. Take his style and approach and do things different. Yeah, do things differently, and have just as much success. And
I think
maybe
for this
find
team,
something else. Yeah,
the stats really skew it. Like, I don't think stats should ever be like the primary argument for anything about this team because it's so skewed.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, that's true, but it's kind of like all I got to work with here. But I understand what your point. It's so hard to credit success to a goalie on a team like this, but at the same time, it's like they're doing it too, especially Scott. That's why you see such a clear difference between the two performances. Is Scott's playing really, really well. I want you guys to listen to this Jared Bednar interview, though, after the Vancouver game, because that's where this whole discussion started, was with the Canucks disaster. And this is probably the most fired up I've ever seen Jared Bednar. Tell me if you guys agree.
In the third period, you saw a sustained effort claw back into the game. How encouraged were you with the fight from this team in third?
Yeah, I like the way we played in the third. But the reality of it is if you want to win in this league, you have to play that way for 60 minutes. So we weren't even close. Wasn't a great first and got worse in the second. And then, yeah, like if you want to hand out like badges for like good effort and stuff like that, like I think we're beyond that. Like this time of year, like effort for 20 minutes and doing the right things for 20 minutes isn't good enough.
Scott Redwood had said that he kind of felt like that throughout the game that it was your game, but they had more chances and you guys had not enough shots. So what can you take the positives out of this game?
None. Closest I get to a positive is what we just talked about. But that's again, like we're past that. We're past that. If this was start of the season, we're making all sorts of mistakes and we came out, we'd show the bad and build on what we did in the third period. Is like trying to set a standard of play and what the way you need to play in exhibition with a bunch of kids, but not now.
Eric, we're like 18 or 19 days away from game one. Are you concerned with not knowing which goalie you're going to be using?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right. What went wrong in the first two periods?
Everything.
It's too long a list.
It's too long a list, he says, which I thought was hilarious. But you see there, like Arif asked him 18, 19 days until playoffs, are you concerned that you haven't picked a goalie? And in all honesty, and you guys know this, as I left the arena that night, my take was they have to say it's Wedgwood because this is getting out of hand. But I think I was a little emotional rightfully so. And and when I look at it, I think big picture wise, I think they're doing the right thing in this situation. The worst case scenario could absolutely happen and make me look really stupid, and the goalie thing becomes an issue come playoff time. But I would argue, and I think my argument would be pretty strong, that these two goalies are better than the two goalies as a group than the 2022 group that won a cup. And sure, there are other different components swaying the outcome otherwise on this team, but I think if you look at it with that scope, they have enough between the pipes to win a cup right now, maybe more than they need.
Well, they may be better in the fact that they're both healthy, but
yeah, sure. One has two. They both have two eyes right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then Francouz was, just in beast mode the entire 22 run. But I don't know if McKenzie is all there right now. And and you can't blame him. He's questioning every movement that he's making more than likely after the last game. So if he's any goalie that I've been friends with after a bad game, I know he's being told by the goalies, the coaching staff, hey, dude, forget the game, move on. But you are going to sit there and replay it over and over and over and over again in your head. Yep. And you are going to think about those little tiny ones that you should have had. I mean, gosh, there are ones that it's like, dude, it went literally like this close to your glove, and all you had to do was just move your glove or do this with your blocker. I mean, come on.
It was actually very, very revealing to see McKinnon in the locker room after the game as he kind of got ready for the shower. It was like in that zoned out mode we've seen videos of on X.
Yeah.
In the pregame, and he was kind of in that same zoned out mode. And to me, which I have no idea, I'm gonna ask him though. I'd love to know. It felt like that's exactly what he was doing, Brendan, but on like a very focused way. Was recapping in his own mind kind of what had happened, and then he kind of did the work, got up, and I think he was done with it. I think he had moved on, even though we saw the display of emotion as he left the ice. I think that's kind of part of the process for him. It was an interesting thing to see for sure. But one of the things that we didn't really talk about because it kind of was a bad game was the success of Sam Malinski, which everyone kind of pointed to as a potential theme of the game outside of the outcome. And it came through with 2 goals and assists. He did get yanked off power play 1 though, in the third period. I don't know if that was because and that shorthanded goal against the 8th worst penalty kill in the history of keeping track of the penalty kill is not ideal. So I get that, but what did you guys think of Sam? I mean, obviously 2 goals and an assist. It's pretty decent, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the output. Watching the game, he looked good. It's not just the counting stats that are good for him too. The underlying metrics are great for him and Taves and tough for the rest of the defense. So they were definitely a huge part of that comeback push. That said, the first period was shaky for everyone, and Malinski's included in that. So, it's not a perfect game by any means. It doesn't give you confidence that he can be a number 1 by any means. And that's not ever going to be the expectation for him, of course. But I just mean if Makar was out long-term, it doesn't give you confidence he can really step up there. But the production was encouraging, and the performance overall was encouraging. So, yeah.
I mean, Brandon, anything to add?
To see Malinski to jump up and exceed the expectations, I think, of what were held upon him is encouraging. I don't think anything was really any expectations were there and then for him to turn around with a 3-point night and have 2 goals and an assist. I mean, we're talking a guy that was cut in the null. and
that's crazy.
he's getting multi-point games in the NHL now. So
Mhm.
I'd say the expectations are going to be low at first when he's going in as a first pair defenseman, but he's doing pretty darn good for now.
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't
agree
like
with
anything
that,
about
Jackie.
this defense. I don't like.
I was just gonna say, well,
one
we got our
thing.
first glimpse of what it looks like
Yeah,
without Cale McCarr,
pretty
right? And that's
sketchy.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap
Yeah,
up the goalie thing. I know we're done with that topic, but
Sure.
I just want to say I don't think this tandem's better. I like the 22 tandem better, but I do think this tandem can win. And I think it's absurd if anyone thinks that Bednar has not chosen his goalie. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, should he announce it?
Oh yeah.
Probably not. I
He
mean, for
doesn't
the
have
fans'
to.
sake, they should, but he's always going to want keep the opponent guessing. So I doubt that he's ever going to announce it. Like, if the media wants to run with, hey, Blackwood's still going to start, he doesn't care. If whoever his opponent is wants to think about it like that, then he's happy. He's happy if you're wrong. So I just think it's funny also how every single question was trying to get Bednar to like think of it last night as positive, and I just thought that was funny. Like any other market, it would have been the other way. Like, why do you think this team could still win a cup? And it's like, well, what did you think was positive about it? And to me, that's hilarious. But anyway, the defense is a big thumbs down for me. I don't care. Like, Malinsky didn't score a goal for 4 months. Great for him. That's wonderful. Like, yes, somebody has to be on the top pair and play with McKinnon. Cool, but the whole defense sucks.
Yeah, it was not.
I'm trying to be a little more encouraging. That's all.
Sure, I think but what I think Jackie has a right to have her stance, because for a while we've been saying, her and I, that without Cale McCarr, this defense looks scary in terms of like even on paper. Obviously, Kulak I think becomes the next best defender after Taves. But the way you have to sort out the group gets a little scary. And then to see Blankenburg in action in a more pivotal role, even though he only played like 6 minutes in the first 2 periods, he was a -2. And it on the, I think it was like 5th goal, for heaven's sake. He sunk way too deep to the point where he was literally like sitting in Blackwood's lap on a 2-on-1. It ended up being a screened 2-on-none. With the screen coming from Blankenburg. So it just, there's no way this Avalanche team has a set and forget 7th defender right now. And with that being said, they can ill afford to go too long without one of the guys inside the 6. And when you lose the guy at the top of the totem pole of talent, it's the worst case scenario.
What? You always have Peyton Middleton.
Well, yeah. Chris McFarland appeared on the what's the name of this podcast? Some podcast, doesn't matter. That I was listening to, and he was talking. The hosts asked him about the Blankenburg trade, because they were big Blankenburg fans. They were excited about it, and he was like, "Yeah, we were actually trying to get 2 defensemen, because we wanted to an extra righty and an extra lefty, but that didn't come together." And I think that's really interesting because they thought of Blankenburg as good value buy, right? 5th round pick for a guy who they think can play and fit their system. He also mentioned that with both Gerard and Malinsky on the roster, they were not interested in Blankenburg. And then when the Gerard trade went through, they pivoted back to Blankenburg as an option. I think we all knew that, but McFarland did confirm it. But yeah, it is I think telling that they wanted another guy because they didn't really think Blankenburg was the true, like the set and forget 7th defenseman, like you said. Maybe more of a 7 or 8 with somebody else, but it didn't happen. So this is the crew that we've got. And Blankenburg, not an impressive showing. That goal you mentioned, Adrian, that was like textbook bad 2-on-1 play. I don't know how he got that far away from his. Like, he didn't take the puck. He didn't take the puck. He didn't take the man. He kind of just got in the way. It was rough. It looked like
like my nephews were in control.
I was going to say Greg Zanin, but I was like, who remembers him?
Greg Zanin.
Yeah,
I remember him.
Oh yeah,
got the fiery red beard. Yeah, I remember him. My wife had a coworker who looked exactly like him, so it's hard not to forget.
But
Oh man.
but I am encouraged by the Malinsky showing to the point where I'm like, yeah, maybe he is number 2 after Taves, with Kulak more of the 3 spot. But it doesn't matter what the spots are.
Yeah.
With Makar out of the lineup, the defense is in a tough spot.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, no, I mean, that's not a hot take. Hey,
No.
take the best defender in the world off your team and you're not as good. Yeah, we know. I understand that. But it just
you're
speaks to the
bad.
fact that, like, when we were talking, when we were
You're
talking about, like, this
actually
defensive
bad.
group being super deep, it's not true. I don't think we're that deep. We're as deep as we might need to be as long as we can stay healthy. And Brendan, is there anyone on the horizon, like, or down there with the Eagles that you could see giving a little more than what we saw from Blankenberg in a playoff situation?
Depends on what you're looking
And
for.
you can't say.
Has
Yeah,
Jacob
I mean, I
McDonald
think
been-
in this
Yeah,
scenario,
I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for size, I would say
sure.
Addard. But I mean, of course, Addard hasn't been up, and gosh, he hasn't played forever because he's been hurt. If you are looking for mobility and speed, I'd say Ashawn or Barons, but they're my size, so they're gonna have the same problem that Gerard had during the playoffs. And to throw Barons in at the NHL level for the first time during the playoffs would just be cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah,
Barons has
welcome back, kid.
Well, no, it's like he has stepped up in the last
Thrown to the
3
wolves.
weeks.
Yeah,
he's been very good in the last 3 weeks, and even the critics have said so. Like even Kevin McGlue has said so himself. He's like, he has done very well in the last few weeks, but to pull him up and do it in this situation would just not be right on him in this situation. I think Jack may be the best way if you're going to go small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
And
you need
what
is
about
somebody who's not going to lose you a playoff game. I mean, it
Well,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
What you need is competence. So you're not looking for, who can do this, who can do that, who can just not give up a goal.
Well, I mean, J-Mac may be the best one, but he's still kind of easing his way back from hip surgery. And
yeah, that's what I was going to ask about.
I mean, I don't like Ashawn, but at this point, he probably couldn't be worse than Blankenberg, which is sad. But like you can't look at that. Like the Eagles are just, because they don't set up their organization that way. They don't set up as looking for the organizational depth that's going to help you in the playoffs. They look for, that's why they get all these rentals, because that's who they look at as these are the players that are going to help you in the playoffs. So yeah, they don't have anything. Like they don't even have one player that I think could actually help. But like I said, at this point, I'm willing to entertain the idea that Ashawn might not be worse than Blankenberg. So I think that's all they got.
We're talking that. I mean, Marie wrote an article at the beginning of the week that Jack Ashawn is more than likely going to be in the argument for the Eddie Shore Award, which is the equivalent to the Norris. And this would be the second year in a row, if he does win it, that the Eagles have had.
Also a scoring title?
No,
like the Norris.
I mean, it does weigh heavily in it, but defense also does weigh in it. Yeah,
that's why I asked. Yeah, because of his power play success.
Yeah, but the Grand Rapids Griffins, one of Grand Rapids Griffins is leading offensively. Defensively, if you look at the game, Jack is leading the game.
Well, let's just make dreams come true and bring up the 6'1" right-handed shot, 201-pound defender Connor Keeley, who was playing in the ECHL with the Grizzlies and got 2 games now with the Eagles. Brendan has a point in those 2 games. Let's just, I mean, he checks some boxes. Why not give it a go? Exactly. But let's move on and talk about Av Stars, which is coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock. A little matinee action. Are we? I don't know. Is this one like fool's gold? Like kind of fun to get up for, but really Like, come on, playoffs. Let's just do this already. Is that where you guys are at right now?
I hate the start time, but yeah, I want the playoffs.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather it be the playoffs already, but I'm excited for this game. I can only watch a little bit of it before I have to go do something else. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to pause
Same.
it and not find out what happens and watch the rest later. But I'm amped for it. I think it's gonna be a fun matchup. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter as much as the playoffs matter.
Exactly.
Obviously, nothing matters till then. So let's get there. But at the same time, it'll be good to see. Especially if McCarr's out, can this defense group rise to the occasion and play against Dallas? What's going to happen? There's a lot of good story to be had in this one.
Well, the
Mikko's back.
Yeah, Mikko is back.
I don't think it's as important as the game a couple weeks ago was because they weren't as close. So I don't think it's as critical.
Yeah, sure.
But you still want to see like 3 games have basically been coin flips. You want to see the Avs actually win a game against Dallas. I do think that's kind of important for the psyche going forward. It's they need a real win here. I'm not talking about a shootout win. I'm talking about a real win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they did that, I think that means something. But other than that, I don't think this game sets up as big as the others recently have. But it's probably the biggest game that they have left. So
good way to put it.
It's kind of a mini big game, not a big game.
So the Avs have 6 points on the Stars. They have 2 games in hand. They're going to burn one of those games in hand tomorrow. So if they don't win it, they'll be only ahead by 4 with 1 game in hand. That's not very encouraging. So I would say it is one of those must-win situations. And
that's
must
a good point.
Win.
Yeah, things change quickly. Yeah,
and you must win.
Otherwise,
to prove that you can win without our rosy cheek friend.
That's a good point. Win without Kale, win while scoring on the power play, while not giving up any shorthanded goals, and do great work in regulation. And I think those will all be positive signs of improvement. That's a good point.
Because
good way to put it.
Hypothetically, and I'm not saying this will happen, but if his injury does leak into the playoffs, we saw what happened when the Avs were without Kale during the Stanley Cup run against Seattle, and they lost him. And then Seattle just ran over the Avs. Yes, they were without Val. So I know that's going to be your guys' argument, but we saw what happened.
No,
once
I would say
Kale
you're
went
right.
out of the lineup. What's that?
No, I mean, not having the best defenseman in the game is going to make a big impact. But it is the question for this weekend, this game against Dallas isn't so much can they win the cup without Kale, but it's just can this group of defenders step up and play much better than they did in Vancouver, because they have to.
Huge test.
Blankenberg, I mean, he's a minor piece, right? But if he plays the same way, then they have to call up Ashana right away, But I would honestly, I'm probably not this game, but if Kale's out for a stretch and Blankenberg is disappointing, why not bring up Barons and see what he's got at the NHL level?
And they've got who
do it, baby.
They've got who on Sunday, because
Sunday St. Louis.
St. Louis,
yeah.
And they would have to call and the Eagles play tonight and tomorrow. So they will have to.
I don't think they will. I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Well, no, if they are going to call someone up, they're going to call someone up tomorrow. So that way they don't. Because they usually what they like to do is they like to make it so they're not playing 3-3, especially on an NHL debut. Oh my God, that would be horrible.
Not to mention,
have you play your 3rd game in 3 days on with travel. No less.
They hate them. First of all, they're on the road and they hate calling people up. I don't think they're going to sit one of their NHL guys to call someone up. And they also don't care about Barron.
Yeah.
I know, but they don't.
Jackie, don't. I do, and you do, and we do, but they do not in this scenario, which I get it. I mean, that's a long shot, Hail Mary sort of call up thing. And like you guys have pointed to, kind of a not ideal, thrusting back into NHL action would be the end of the regular season and then playoffs. Although a competitor in you might be like, hell yeah, let me go play in the playoffs. So there's two sides
If they
to that coin.
clinch
But
everything, maybe
I'm
they'll have
excited.
a game or two where they bring somebody up or something. But like how they brought Tynan up for a completely pointless game at the end of last season. So I guess something like that's possible, but
I have
not
one
as
other
part
thing
of,
that I
like,
want to talk
competitive
about.
reason.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, Jackie. I thought you were done. But yeah, I have one other thing that I want to talk about, which is Martin Necas. We saw him kind of go down in a heap to end the second period.
He practiced today.
And those of us, I'm sure those of us who follow the team know that he's dealt with something in his wrist area, hand and wrist area, for a while, since right before I think the Olympic break is when it really came to a head. That's why he sat out ahead of the Olympics. He came back, had a great showing in the Olympics. But we did see him go down, as I mentioned. He was clearly in some considerable pain. There were even some reporters kind of in the room that were mentioning that he did go on the cart and potentially get x-rays, which is interesting for me because to thrust him right back out there, I'm hoping that means that they came back negative, but I don't know. So yeah, I mean, obviously you'd connect those dots pretty easily, but I can only speculate. I haven't no official report on that. But it was, to me, it's a little more concerning that than it's kind of being played out to be. What are your guys' opinions on that? Brandon, what are you thinking with the Necas situation?
Oh, he practiced on the top line today, so I think he's fine. And he didn't seem to be holding back, so I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, sometimes
I think it's something we should keep an eye on. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a whack on the wrist and it is bad. You know, it is so bad and it hurts so much, and then it's nothing. So I'm hoping it's just that, but you're not wrong that it's been a pattern for him throughout the season, a little bit of a right wrist situation. So you have to keep, it is our job to keep an eye on it, right? So we will. But but what Brennan's saying is encouraging, and the fact that he came back in the third period and looked himself is also encouraging. So not too worried about it.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm not too worried about it, but if we see something happen in the near future, that should be on our radar like immediately. And my thought and worry is it's like, can't lose Kale, don't want to lose Marty. I get that we're playing for supremacy in the league and the division right now, but let's not get too risky. I'm still concerned about usage, especially like in a game where we're playing the Vancouver Canucks. Like, I get that it's embarrassing you're losing to this team, but the effort that was made to make a comeback felt just kind of like, okay, well, you could have started like this and there would be no issue. And now you're just pressing. And I tell you what, guys, I've been in a lot of hockey games, and I don't think I've seen many where there were so many egregious slashing occasions that were not called.
Yeah,
oh my goodness! For both teams, it was crazy. I was like, "What is going on? Like, where's the threshold today?" Because typically we see anything up on the hands, it's like a hair trigger, and we're getting a penalty as of late. But
the first penalty of the game was a light slash on the back of Necas's arm that they called. So it felt like, okay, the standard's going to be tight, and then it was not.
Yeah, and then
Brennan's going to give us a. Here we go.
Yep. I got my elbow guard and my glove on, just to say he probably could have gotten slashed right here.
Yeah.
He's showing the underside of his wrist, which is not covered by the glove or the pad. NHL players do often wear like a Kevlar wrist thing there, but if you miss that too, oh man.
Well, and one person,
and if it catches you on the bone of your wrist,
it hurts so bad. That's my guess.
It's happened to me. Yeah. And one person you see wearing it is Kucherov, because he wears a very low cut glove and a very high elbow guard, but he wears like these extender things that come up above his wrists.
Yeah.
So if you watch a Lightning game very carefully when you go like actual ice level and see him warm up, he's got these guards that come over his wrists, and it's actually pretty cool to see some like modifications to cover those gaps.
Oh, so he didn't have his Kevlar on. That's why he was so bad at the All-Star game a couple years ago. That's what was
Yeah,
going. He didn't
that
have
he's
his
probably
armor.
drunk as all mother. Yeah.
I still think if we're talking about
well,
injury, the Makar injury is the concern. Like, they've done a real good
Sure.
job of downplaying it, and I'd still be surprised if he's out for the playoffs. But I think
Yeah.
they're lying a little bit. They're downplaying it. So
I was
for
gonna
me,
say,
that's
if-
the biggest
if-
concern. I mean, guys are dealing with stuff. Who knows? It's hard to pick and choose and say, oh, this guy's dealing with something, that guy's dealing with something. I mean, we just hope that they are prudent. If they need a couple days rest at the end of the season, they'll probably get it. But the Makar thing is definitely like the
Sure.
primary concern. And like I said, I'm sensing downplaying it. And we got to remember that Makar usually takes a while to come back too. Like, he's a guy that really wants to
point.
feel good before coming back. He's not a guy that pushes himself back. So the whole like, oh, we'll reevaluate him for Tuesday. Like, just stop. Like, no, he's not playing on
Yeah.
Tuesday. Let's just like, let's just not completely buy into this.
Well,
But as
yeah,
long as
and
he
no,
plays
you're
in the
right. You're
playoffs,
right.
then whatever. Then it doesn't matter.
We're good.
No.
Yeah.
Just other than having to watch.
I don't think they want
without
to.
him.
Yeah, I don't think they want to take having to prepare for him off the table for the rest of the regular season for their opponents, and so they keep it pretty close to the vest. But I'm 100% with you, Jackie. We've been told, oh no, it's not one of those things where he's not going to come back before the playoffs. He's definitely going to get in a couple games before the playoffs. And I'm sitting over here going, one, I'm okay if he doesn't.
No.
Two, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and Nick
Exactly,
Waugh,
exactly.
like there was two players mentioned in the update, and I think what you're talking about is the one either by Colleen Flynn, she's my colleague at Mile High Sports, or Evan Rawl, had both tweeted that out and said that, oh, they'll be reevaluated on Tuesday, but they're not traveling with the team and blah blah blah. And I'd written the article today about how Nick Waugh looked and everything like that. I think Nick Waugh is going to be ready midweek, to be honest.
His projected targeted return, which obviously on ESPN, which means nothing. But
I was going to say,
I will
do
say
they
what it
have
is.
eyes here?
No, of course not. It means nothing, but it was. They've said it as April 7th for a long time. So if reevaluated on Tuesday, that would be April 7th. That maybe just means Waugh is reevaluated Tuesday, but.
Yeah, and he was skating in a red sweater. He was skating on the PK. It's all in my article that I posted today on the Brennan's Beat. So, yeah,
Check it
just
out.
take a look at that.
Head on over to Hockey Mountain High, and look at all of that they got going on over there. Heck yeah, I think that's where we'll wrap up maybe for a second here, just so that I can grill everybody about their bold predictions last time.
You mean
because I don't know everyone but you, Brendan, you beautiful son of a gun. You, Evan, he is not with us on the program right now, as those of you watching can see. But he did make a prediction on our last episode where he said that Parker Kelly would get to 20 in the next game against Vancouver. And he was almost right, because Parker Kelly got to 19, but unfortunately for him, and whatever whale is patiently waiting to be adopted by Megan Angley, he got stuck at 19 and will have to get 20 potentially in against Dallas, which would be a pretty cool way to get it done. Jackie, you said that McKinnon would get to 51. I thought you were going to be right too, as he did get 50. And my goodness, what a play. Hit the brakes, watch the guy fly by, create some space, put a wrister right into the alley. Patented Nathan McKinnon stuff right there. But still, unfortunately, you were wrong and don't get a ding there. You still got a season long going of Gerard having more points than Taves. I haven't checked in on that one, but we're going to do that.
It's getting closer.
And then your other season long was that the Avs are going to lose to Calgary. So we'll find out about that one still. Brendan, you had a Landeskog goal. And you know what? Give him his ding. And by God, that's just a wonderful thing to see. Gabe Landeskog scoring goals again in an Avalanche sweater. So congratulations, Brendan. That brings you now to 6. You are officially tied with Ezra and ahead of Evan, who has 5. Jackie's still cruising and leading the way with 12. I have 8. Ezra, your prediction was that Blankenberg would have 12 minutes minimum of time on ice, and you were so close. It was 11 and change, but it wasn't 12. So we're gonna have to buzz you there.
He did everything he
said
could not
also,
to earn more time.
Yes, that's true. You said also that they would fulfill the revenge game, beat Pittsburgh, but they would also beat Winnipeg twice. I think I buzzed you for that last week.
You did
already,
buzz
though,
me.
so
Don't
I
buzz
won't
me
get
again,
you.
please.
Yeah. I had a Martin H's hat trick versus Vancouver. I was fearful that I had jinxed it. So
you reverse jinxed it, and Besner got it.
That's what I'm saying. I pulled an Evan. I should have just said a hat trick in the game against Vancouver, and then I would have got a ding. I still have my season long that predicts that the Avs will clinch the division and the President's Trophy against the St. Louis Blues, which is still on the table for the time being. Saturday will change that considerably depending on the outcome. But let me roll our sponsor. And while I do so, be thinking of your bold prediction for this week. Jackie, because you're leading the way, I'm going to start with you.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I call that bold talk.
All right, this is Bold Predictions brought to you by Brews Ale House Brewing Company, located in the heart of downtown Pueblo, Colorado, right along the historic Arkansas Riverwalk. It's a beautiful setting and a place where you can enjoy some wonderful beverages and food. They have a bakery, they have coffee, make some wonderful in-house cocktails, and all of the beer is also made in-house. It's just a great place to enjoy food, beverages, and hockey or basketball, as they have specials for both the Avalanche and the Nuggets games every single time they are on altitude. So, Bold Predictions brought to you by Brews Ale House. Jackie, what do you got for me this week?
All right. Well, I bet on an Av and didn't get a ding, so I'm sorry. This is also for my husband's fantasy team. Mikko Rantanen's going to get a goal.
No.
In the Avs Dallas game. Sorry.
Yeah.
McKinnon didn't do it for me. I mean, it was right there. He didn't do it for me, bro. So we got to go with Mikko Rantanen goal.
Okay. A Mikko Rantanen goal. Man, I hate it. Can you couple something with that? Because I feel like Mikko's plenty capable of scoring. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say it 5-on-5. I'll take power play off the table.
Okay. That's or
even strength anyway. Just take power play off the table.
I like it. Okay. That is a fair compromise, Jackie. Thank you for nothing. I'm just kidding. Thank you for giving me that bold prediction. Brendan, what do you got for me this week?
Come back to me in a minute.
Okay. Ezra, what about you?
Yours. I'm gonna say the Avs power play outscores the Stars power play.
Gotcha.
Without Kale, that's bold as hell.
Yeah, I like it. I will say that contrary to what we've seen throughout the season so far, this game will be determined by 3 or more goals.
You mean the winner will have
either
win by 3?
Yes, we'll win by 3 or
trying to say?
3 or more. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
I think that's bold.
Thank you, Jackie.
Especially
that's very bold.
Well, I didn't know if you were trying to say the game will have 3, but you mean the winner will win by a margin of at least 3. I think that's bold just because of how close the other whatever games have been.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. I hope it leans to one side. That I like and enjoy following.
For these games continue, it'll be a 2-1 shootout win, but because the first two games were
If the
5-4
trends for
shootout
what
wins for each team, and then Dallas won 2-1 last
But if
time.
the trend suits for Avs, it's been what was it against Calgary? Was it 7-2 or whatever, and then 9-2, and then 8-6? What is this, 1980s hockey? What's going on over here? Anybody playing defense? All right, Brandon, I think we've given you enough time. What do you got?
4 on Bennington.
4 goals on Bennington on Sunday.
Yeah, they're gonna come out angry.
What if Bennington doesn't play on Sunday?
Then I'm screwed, aren't I?
Okay. Just saying. They've been playing home for
Makes
a
it even
lot.
bolder.
But I mean, it's
Makes it even bolder.
Well, the home and home.
Yeah.
I think is also St. Louis back to back. They also play on Saturday.
No, it's Sunday.
I think they play on
Bennington
Friday.
wants to play.
Oh.
I think Bennington probably wants to play.
I think they play tonight, and because they're it's Friday, and the NHL refuses to do more than 1 or 2 games on a Friday night, which is dumb,
crazy.
They play the Ducks tonight in Anaheim.
We could have a whole episode about scheduling and goaltender interference.
God, yeah,
there's
the
like a
slates are
few
ridiculous
subjects
on Fridays
where you could have whole episodes. So maybe we'll do that in the off season.
Yeah,
we'll
that sounds
have
like an off-season
whole
thought for
episodes
sure.
dedicated to exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, there are about 270 of you.
Oh, we could have whole episodes on just like each individual gripe that we all have,
and then we'll get the
what's your
NHL headquarters fax number and we'll fax it over there. Yeah, we'll do everyone's bones to pick. not
We
just
do
Jackie.
have their
We'll
fax
just go
number.
down
That's
the
the
list.
scary part.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just fax what we think the schedule should look like, and we'll see if they get back to us. They may block the number, but hey, it's worth a shot.
Why are they playing so many home games in LA?
My suggestion would be instead of home and homes, just do it at the same place against the same team like they did during COVID. It actually works.
It makes so much more sense. That's what the
home and
AHL
away.
does.
Home and away and home and away. Yeah, they should do that. Like the weekend,
Or
the weekend
do the
series
AHL
things.
junk.
That would be
2
fun.
homes or 2 home games in like 2 days, and then move on.
And that actually benefits travelers. Like people totally would travel for weekends like that.
Yeah, because it's like the
game
Eagles
thing.
are playing in San Jose tonight and tomorrow, and then they move on.
Yeah,
Doesn't baseball
that's
do
a
that?
good point. Also, like it, baseball absolutely. Baseball lengthens that. They have 5 game series sometimes, so it's like,
Do they really?
They'll
Like,
spend a whole
it's
damn
like
near a
last
whole.
I knew
Yeah.
they only did 3 max, but
I think they've done. Hold on, let me
They
confirm
definitely
that. But
do
either
4
way,
because they use
they
like that
definitely do
Wednesday or
4.
whatever,
Yeah.
Thursday.
yeah.
So
the Rockies have only
they
done
pressed
3
the
game
series
series so
thing.
far.
You'll play one team the whole week in the MLB. Like that's not uncommon. So I
Well,
would
yeah,
be
but
that would be
that
kind of
whole
cool. Like
week-
imagine if
that whole
like
week
this is
is-
Dallas week.
Well, the whole week is Monday through Wednesday, day off Thursday, and then you start a new series Friday through Sunday.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. But
With
that
the
would be
travel-
cool, like build up and also help you more easily analyze what would happen in a potential playoff series if these teams are like playing each other in short amounts of time and over one weekend or whatever. That'd be cool. But
Yeah, but that's every other
this
day
is
in the
we'll save
playoffs.
that.
This
We'll
is-
save that. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
could go on for an hour on this one.
Yeah. Like I said, why don't we talk about goaltender interference next? Which we've gotten
God.
a few more entries into the what the hell is that over the last few weeks.
What are
But
we looking at
I
here?
think that's where I'll leave it. I've had you folks for almost an hour now. I want to give you all this opportunity to maybe give a quick little shout out or spiel as to what you might be working on or got going on in the near future. I'll start with you, my friend Ezra.
Sure. Not really working on anything hockey related outside of this podcast, but I do have comedy stuff going on all the time. So follow me on Instagram at Ezra Party or my channel at Daily Misinformer if you want to hear about politics. It's jokes about politics, totally different than this vibe, but very fun. So yeah, that's what I've got going on.
depending on the side
Awesome.
of
Jack-
politics is depending on which ones I'll laugh at.
I mean, I think if you're really happy with the current administration, maybe don't look at what I'm posting. But if you don't like them for any reason, whatever side of the world you're on, I think
there's your hint. Well, maybe one day outside of the partisanship, we'll have a crossover content day where it's just going to be comedy, Avs comedy hour. And maybe we'll pick somebody.
No pressure, Ezra.
For sure.
Yeah. Some satire. It'd be great. The SNL of Colorado Avalanche. We could figure it out. Jackie, what about you? What you got going on coming up? Oh, Jackie, you there? There you are.
No, I can hear you. I'm just waiting for. Sorry about the noise. It's been ridiculous.
It's okay. I'm not allowed to ridicule anyone for background noise after my child.
Yeah, so I'm trying here. Let's see. Other than obviously game content that you can expect from Mile High Hockey, I am working on a prospect playoff update. So I think that's going to go out sometime next week. We're waiting for the OHL matches to settle. So yes, we actually do still have a few prospects that are still playing in the playoffs. So I think it would be an appropriate time for an update there. So look for that maybe early next week. Let's see, we're going to have our playoff previews before. There won't be a lot of time between the end of the regular season, but we're definitely going to be doing that. So I guess look for that if you're looking for any special content. I also put up the Eagles 3 stars of the month. I'm sure everyone's eagerly anticipating that one. So I did put that up the other day, so you can check that out. See who I chose. I guess that's about it. That's about what's going on right now. Just
awesome.
A lot of game content.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and to what you're talking about, Jackie, the playoff previews, what we do there is we go forwards, defenders, goalies to preview each round too. So it's not just our typical game previews. We also do an in-depth dive into kind of each group, how they stack up against each other, just so that you can have everything you need going into round one. It remains to be seen who that round one opponent wants to be. It feels like there's a few teams who can't decide if they really want it or not.
I guess we should say maybe as like a last thing right now, sorry to interrupt, just who do we think it's going to be? Like, I think this far out, maybe it'd be good to kind of make a little prediction. Maybe if any of us are right, get an extra bolt prediction point, just because there's like so many options
I dig that.
still. So maybe as a quick like little, who do we think they're going to play?
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is, Brennan, first I'll give you the floor, and then we will answer that question, all four of us. Brennan, what do you got going on coming up?
Just live game coverage. Next weekend I'll be up in Loveland to cover the Tucson series as the Eagles try to get back in the first place, but it's looking close. And then
there you go.
If the Avs are ever going to practice like they did today, I'll be in arena for that. So
yeah, that might be the last one.
Yeah, I'm.
That might very well be.
If it's on a Saturday or Sunday, I unfortunately cannot be at the arena for those.
Heard. Well, very cool. Very cool. You can check all of that out at Hockey Mountain High. For those of you currently tuned in. But back to Jackie's question, which is, who do we think the Avalanche will play in that wild card 2 position? We'll just work on assuming the parameters that they do in fact win the division and the President's Trophy. Right now we have Utah at 84 in the first wild card, San Jose at 79 in the second wild card position, with Nashville and Los Angeles both sitting at 79. However, San Jose has a game in hand on them. And then there's the Jets who are not going away. Winnipeg Jets at 76 and Kraken right behind them at 75. St. Louis technically still not eliminated. That's an interesting thing. And then also the same is true for Calgary, but they are close. Chicago and Vancouver have indeed been eliminated. I will start with Jackie since you brought it to the table. Who's your pick?
I know. I think just for the entertainment, I want to pick San Jose. I don't know if that's my gut feel. I feel like my gut feels LA. So I'm kind of on the fence here. Do I want to go with what I think will be fun or what do I think gut-wise? I'm going to go gut-wise. I'm trying to get a point here. So I'm going to go LA.
Okay, the LA Kings. That'd be a fun matchup. Kopitar's last grasp at silver. Ezra, what do you got?
Well, LA is also my gut feeling, but I won't take the same team as Jackie. They also, I looked at the remaining strength of schedule list at Tankathon, and Los Angeles by far the easiest schedule remaining. So it does feel likely. But second easiest schedule remaining is San Jose, and they do have a game in hand on the rest of their competition. So I'll pick San Jose. I think they're the second most likely.
There you go.
And it would be fun. I'm going to pick the Sharks.
And either way, they're nearby, right? San Jose or LA.
They're just a short 7-hour drive away.
yeah, nearby.
Okay. What is this, America or something?
I can actually drive to...
That's the thing about America.
I could drive to Utah faster.
Denver's closer?
Mm-hmm. Denver's not closer, but Salt Lake is.
Well, it's like, that's the thing I always have to explain to people who I've met that come here from like Europe. It's like, this ain't like Europe. Like, not everything is like an hour drive away. Like, there's whole cities in one state that are several hours away from each other in America. It's not a common thing otherwise. So, but I dig it.
A perfect
San Jose
example.
Yep. I won't name who this reporter is, but I'll just say that one of the esteemed colleagues of mine mentioned, I just hope I don't have to go to Manitoba. And so I think the LA and San Jose option is way more appealing than traveling.
That would be Evan
to
Rawl.
Winnipeg. No,
I can almost guarantee it was Evan.
I think it was probably everybody, but only one person said it out.
Yeah, let's just say it's not easy to get from Denver to Winnipeg. I think there is a direct flight, but it's seasonal. It's not the greatest travel itinerary. Even though I don't think Winnipeg, the city itself, is really the issue. I think it's the travel to that city.
I think it's cheaper to fly into Fargo and then rent a car and then drive from Fargo to Winnipeg.
Yep, you're correct. Yeah. Well, my prediction is going to be in the vein of repeating history. And so I'm seeing a sweep in round one. Why not let it just be the Predators again, right? So that's my prediction.
Yeah. They're the team playing the best of the crew that we've listed. They're 6-4 in their last 10.
Did you say Nashville? I'm sorry that you cut out. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. I said Nashville. Yeah.
You know what? I can definitely see that too. Like, it almost seems like destined that the Avs have to play them again in the playoffs.
Yep. Brandon, what do you think?
Well,
you're running out of options.
Basically all of the options are taken.
But
I was going to say
San Jose. Might as well take a flyer.
There's so many. There's still St. Louis. There's still Winnipeg.
Yeah, there's
still St. Louis.
You could choose them to not win the division.
Do we want another water bottle being thrown at
Seattle
as Nez?
There's still Seattle.
Oh, that's a good point. Vegas could fall out of the Pacific
Vegas or
at 84.
Mm-hmm. No, I want to see Celebrini go playoff mode. I think that would be fun.
Fair enough. I can hand out points to multiple people for this. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Evan?
If it ends up happening,
Sorry, bro.
San Jose would be fun.
No bonus point opportunity for Evan. But we love you, Evan. Hope you're listening somewhere and that there's a cat on your lap keeping you warm at the same time while you eat a sandwich.
Can I give Evan Seattle? He always mentions it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's Seattle,
you're right.
I want to give Evan a point.
Yeah.
He let's put it down. I like that.
That rematch from the Seattle loss.
That's right. That's
right.
All right. Well, I've kept you folks. Yes. Yeah. Well, in the final, I guess. I've kept you folks 10 minutes beyond time, so thank you to the three of you for sticking with it, and thank you
It was
to the
my fault. It was the
350 or so. No, we keep going if we got it, baby. The job wasn't done. The same is true for the Colorado Avalanche, who have a few games left to secure their spot atop the NHL with the President's Trophy and a Central Division title, and that all coveted home ice advantage come playoff time. You folks have been wonderful for tuning in and joining us on this very pleasant Friday for this 139th episode of the Mile High Hockey Lab. Please do us a favor and subscribe, like, and share this programming with your fellow Avalanche fans. It goes a long way to us keeping the wheels turning over here, so it would mean a lot. Please head on over to the websites, milehighhockey.com, as well as Hockey Mountain High, where you can find the work of Brennan Vogt and Evan Liu. Jackie K is the editor over at Mile High Hockey. Ezra is my good friend over here on the Mile High Hockey Lab. Brendan, managing editor of Hockey Mountain High. And I'm the producer and a contributor to Mile High Hockey myself. On behalf of Ezra Parter, Brennan Vogt, Jackie K, I'm Adrian Hernandez. Until next time, Avs fans, stay happy and go Avs.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.